Good morning, America. I'm Eddie Goche. Welcome back to ICBS News, and here to give you the latest updates on the election. It is a little after 9:15 on the East Coast, and it is 6:15 here in Los Angeles. And it's the morning after Election Day, and ballots are still being counted in some states. And as of early Wednesday morning, it was still too close to call in Alaska, Arizona, North Carolina, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Maine, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Based on the races called so far, this is where the race to 270 stands right now. Former Vice President holds the lead in Electoral College at this stage in the count with 224 Electoral College votes. Donald Trump has 213 Electoral College votes, and both candidates still have pathways to get to 270 electoral votes at the moment. The number of votes needed to win the presidency is the magic number 270. About 45 minutes ago, Democrats are a whisper away from turning Georgia into a blue state, according to Gregory Craig. For the second time in 2 years, Democrats are a whisper away from turning Georgia blue. In 2018, Republican Brian Kemp narrowly defeated Democrat Stacey Abrams to become governor. Now, the presidential race remains too close to call hours after the polls close. The outstanding votes almost entirely come from parts of Biden-friendly Atlanta and its suburbs. With more than 90% of the estimated votes in, Trump leads the former vice president by a little more than 118,000 votes. But with Fulton, DeKalb, and Gwinnett counties, among others, still yet to complete their counts, the race remains in the balance, contrary to Trump's claim early Wednesday morning that he's already won it. No Democratic presidential nominee has won in Georgia since 1992, and that's when Bill Clinton defeated incumbent George H.W. Bush. Barack Obama came close. Hillary in 2018 got closer. Abrams in the gubernatorial campaign came within 1.4 percentage points of victory in a race marred by evidence of voter suppression. Democrats' slow and steady climb has been fueled by a rapidly diversifying electorate and suburbs that are at once growing and becoming increasingly hostile to Republican candidates. The state GOP has compounded the issue, refusing so far to expand Medicaid under Obamacare, while Governor Brian Kemp in 2019 signed a so-called heartbeat bill, one of the county's most restrictive abortion laws. Sensing opportunity, Vice Presidential nominee Senator Kamala Harris, who was joined by Abrams and Obama, both visited the state in the final push Wednesday ahead of the election day, sensing a tight race. Trump also visited over the weekend. Biden's fate could be decided over the next day as the final votes are tabulated, but the political world will keep its eye on Georgia for weeks to come. Both Senate races, one at a special election, could be headed for a runoffs early next year. No matter who wins the presidency, those races have the potential to decide the balance of power in the U.S. Senate for the next 2 years. Well, elsewhere in Georgia and Michigan, votes are still being tabulated in key states. Here's a closer look at the numbers in closely watched counties in those states. The simple fact is there are still votes to be counted, and votes cast legally still to be counted in states where the margins are thin. And this is according to CNN's Jim Sciutto. Fulton County, Georgia, home to Atlanta, about 80% of the vote counted so far. Absentee and mail-in vote counting will resume at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Moving on to DeKalb County, Georgia, 80% of the vote has been counted so far. Absentee and mail-in vote counting resumes at 11 a.m. In Michigan, 14% of the overall vote still needs to be counted. The Michigan Secretary of State told CNN that hundreds of thousands of votes still need to be counted in the state as a whole. In Wayne County, Michigan, home to Detroit, 64% of the vote counted so far. In both those states, it's urban areas that tend to favor Democrats. The question, of course, is it enough to turn the results in those states? And ultimately, given their position as battleground states in this election, to turn the election overall, Ciuto said, in Wisconsin, 3% of the vote remains to be counted, while in Pennsylvania, 25% remains to be counted. Pennsylvania allows mail-in votes to be received and counted up until Friday. And here's another update about 8 minutes ago. Here's how each candidate can still get to 270 electoral votes. CNN has not projected a winner in 9 states across the country: Alaska, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Maine, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. CNN's Phil Mattingly mapped out a potential path for Biden. If Trump wins Alaska, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, and if Biden holds on to his lead in Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, Maine, and overtakes Trump in Michigan as Biden's path, that's what Mattingly is insinuating. If you were a Democrat, you went to bed last night assuming it was a 2016 redox and everything was over. It's not, he added. There is a very clear pathway with a lot of vote to count, but there is a pathway. Mattingly also mapped out a potential path for Trump. If President Trump wins Pennsylvania, holds his lead in Michigan, and flips Nevada, because it's currently a very close race, he will have the votes he needs. He doesn't need to win Georgia, needs to dig into some Democratic territory, and needs to somehow manage to hold off Joe Biden in the state of Michigan and hang on to a very sizable lead right now in Pennsylvania, and he's over 270. That's what Mattingly is stating. That's the latest election news, and we will continue to update you for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yours truly, Eddie Gautier, and God bless.